Okay, so yeah, Murderbot, right? It is coming to a close on the 11th of July. The question is, do the remaining episodes continue, right? The goodness that we got in the first two. And people, I think it's fair to say it does. I've now finished the series and I thoroughly enjoyed it, right? It continues to capture the just the craziness of this world Martha Wells has created. You know, the more you watch it, the more you realize how good the casting is, right? Like, just these characters are brought to life so well by everyone involved. You know, I don't think there's anyone that I just think, they could have been good. You know, Noma Dumezweni is great as Mensa. Alexander Skarsgård obviously kills it as Murderbot, right? He's great. But then we have Garafin, David Dastmalchian, right? Who's what I think he's playing M. Bison now in the Street Fighter film. He's great as Garafin because Garafin is that one person that doesn't warm to Murderbot, right? He is the dude who's trying to fuck everything up. But as a member of, you know, the team itself, you can see him being a valuable member. But he is just a bit of a dick. A bit of a stick in the grass. Stick in the grass? Huh. I think that's the expression. I might be wrong. But yeah, that is Garafin. And, you know, David really does nail it. Right? Sabrina Wu as Ping Lee is great. Oh my gosh. I think Akshay Khanna as Rafi has some just fantastic moments throughout. Right? Just his attempts to befriend Murderbot, right? And establish himself as, you know, a bit of an action man. I think it's episode 3. We see him with a gun, and it is gold. It really is gold. It's fantastic, right? So just all of these things work, right? Arada, you know, Tattiawna Jones is great. You know, just everyone does this really frigging good job, right? You can't fault anyone. I think, like, maybe Tamara Podemski's character doesn't get quite enough time to shine, right? She's still very good, but I think the other characters might get a little bit more, right? But still well played. So, you know, as our main cast, they're fantastic, right? We get more. We get absolutely more of the rise and fall of the Century Moon, which that is so. I mean, ain't gonna lie, right? They would be mad if they didn't do just like a little spin-off. Doesn't even have to be like, you know, a full, you know, 9-episode series or something like that. But they could do like a special, a Century Moon special. And I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it would be a lot of fun. You do get some kind of like Galaxy Quest vibes from it, but it is It's just those scenes are always good, right? So John Chu, Clark Gregg, Jack McBrae, DeWanda Wise are tremendous. And we also get another, because in the books he does watch, there's several shows he's watching, you know what I mean? So the fact that we get one of the other shows is really, fun as well. So man, they're really good. And then we get some other characters, right? Labibi, Rita, one of the other Grey Chris people are all, we don't get a lot of them, you know what I mean? They're not major parts of the story, but they all serve their purpose well, right? They all make sense. Like the Grey Chris contingent, because they're not really these fleshed out people in the book, right? It is just, they're the company that are really being a bit shoddy, let's say, but in this, we get a little character from them, which works very well, that works. It's nice to see the different designs in the sec units, right? So all of these things come together, right? There's additions, right? They've added bits, left some bits out, but it's all for the betterment of the medium, right? Because I don't think you read or listen to the books and you think, we should have got this and we should have got that. I mean, if anything, you just want more. There's essentially, these are novellas. Each book is a novella. Then they do the half books, right? Which are even shorter. And it's just like, it's a novella. Can we get shorter, right? But so, if anything, you just want more story. Because, these books are so enjoyable. But character-wise, Wells does this really good job of bringing all of these things to life in a way that it does feel complete. Right? It does feel complete. But, as I said, the novellas. So, obviously, they've added some stuff to the TV show, but it all does make sense. Like, it's just more stuff on, this crazy team of, scientists and geologists and everything. It's just like, hey, let's all hold hands. You know what I mean? Just that. And, in the first two episodes, when they colour in, the walls of the base and just the dancing, just all of these goofy things, right, are fleshing those people out. And we get more of that stuff, which then does lead into, right, some of the things we see later on. Like their relationship with the sec unit, right? When they find out certain things and all of this kind of stuff, right? Because we've been with these characters now for a bit, because they've had more room to breathe, it's enabled us to really sit with them, Right, so I do think, like, we get this new wrinkle. Actually, I can't remember where I left. Door went, so I had to pause. But, I think this is where I was. Yeah, we get this new wrinkle with a couple of the characters, like this backstory, which I don't believe is in the book, So it's interesting, like what they might do with it. But I think all the new additional stuff works well. Works well. Like the weird thruple, just all of that, right? And I mean, also, it's because these characters have been built up, like the trauma from certain things hits. You know what I mean? Because you just think, yeah, of course. Because these are all goofy fucking people, right? These are all goofballs who just think the world is great and, if we just all talk it out, everything. So when they see the hard truths of certain things, just because if you tell a bad guy he's being naughty, right? Wait, they're not going to stop? Oh, no, right? Because, they're seeing the realities of this stuff. It's kind of leaving a little scar. It's leaving an impact on them. And the show is able to kind of really show that, right? Embed those aspects. I really did think the way they chose the moment for the helmet to come down with Sec Unit, just all of that kind of stuff, the eye contact, the camera holding on certain things so you could see like the discomfort, right? Just all of these things really lead through. So yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I still enjoyed the hell out of it all the way till the end. I did think that the actual end is a little flat, right? Now, obviously, endings can be tough, right? Because do you do a cliffhanger, right? Like how much you leave open, how much all of these different things. And the ending is definitely different to the book, right? So it's essentially fine, right? It's not like, ugh, that was terrible or anything like that. And we don't get a cliffhanger per se, which is good because, you have to wait at least a year with these things. You know what I mean? Unless it's Slow Horses and they film things back to back, right? But we know they didn't. So, leaving on cliffhangers can be super frustrating and irritating. You know what I mean? Because the story's good. I'm coming back, right? You don't have to leave it in a certain way, right? Will they live or will they die? Will this? Oh, will they, won't they? You know what I mean? We don't need all of this, right, to make you want to watch the next season. Just ensure that the story was good. Then you tell me they're making more, I'll be on board. You feel me? So, yeah, the ending wasn't irritating in that way. It was just a little, it's an interesting place to leave things, right? When you figure, well, we could have taken it here or there or blah, blah, blah. They just chose just to cut it there. Which, again, is fine, right? It doesn't take away everything that's come before, but it just felt a little bit flat. Little bit, just a little bit. You know what I mean? But other than that, if you enjoyed episode 1 and 2, you will most definitely want to be there for the remaining episodes of Murderbot, right? Which is an adaptation of Martha Wells' Murderbot Diaries. And the other thing is, it looks like a new book has dropped. Well, a new half book, right? Which is a bit frustrating because the half books aren't put on Audible. Only the full books are on Audible. So, yeah, won't be getting that one. But, yeah, you know, people enjoy the show. They can get a little bit extra in the world of Sec Unit and Crew. So, yeah, people, we are getting a season 2. I hope I didn't make that up, right? But I do believe I did read that they renewed it. I feel they did renew it. I'm feeling like I'm going a little crazy now. I hope I'm right. But yeah, no, I believe they have done it. So yeah, we will get more Murderbot and gang real soon. So yeah, people, I hope you enjoy. Hold up. Do not go anywhere, people, because I'm a moron. Yeah, I thought I had watched episode 10. I hadn't watched episode 10. That's why it seemed like it had an abrupt ending, because it hadn't ended. Yo, I don't know, people. I just put it to the fact that I've had hardly any sleep. But yeah. So episode 10, right, it's called The Perimeter. And yo, this is so different to everything that's come before. And different in like the color palette that is used, because we're not on planet anymore, we're somewhere else. It's like different locations, you know, so we have this completely different look, and you know, different clothes for our characters. It's very, very different in that palette of ways. There's a slight shift tonally, right? Now, we don't have characters acting all different and bizarre, and it's not different in that way. You're still, if you've enjoyed what's come before, you'll watch this and you'll be like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'm digging it. But you will notice this slight shift. And it's very interesting, right? So the gist of the episode, right? Season finale. Murderbot's fate hangs in the balance at the corporation rim. Press Orcs presents a radical request. So yeah, that's the episode. And it is that complete changing of the guard, kind of. Now, what we see here does not happen in the books. This is completely new, right? It's getting to a thing that does happen, but their journey to it is very different. It makes a gang of sense, right? You're watching this, and you know, although it doesn't happen, you're like, of course that's what they would do, right? Why wouldn't they do this thing? Like, this makes so much, and it, like, the actions of the people, just everything about it, you're like, okay, yeah. So, man, I dug the fuck out of this. Like, you know, I thought this was that interesting ending. And also, like, because what what happens at the very end of the first book? It's like you're with it, you know what I mean? But I feel kind of this ending makes it make even more sense. You know what I'm saying? Because of this new perspective and it's hard. It's hard to say, right? Just a new situation, right? It then, you look at all of this, all of that's transpired, and you go, yeah, that's gonna make someone this. So, boom, I dug it. We do see this kind of like certain this growth and evolution in other characters, right? It's it's interesting, and it also shows us a kind of what Grey Chris, right? It shows us their capacities, their levels, right? How far they potentially are willing to go for something, which is, again, you might look at it and be like, rah, but when you think about, the things some companies have done, right? There was this great film, I think it's Blackwater or Deepwater. Hulk is in it. Mark Ruffalo. Yes, he's a lawyer. And it's essentially about the company that developed Teflon, right? Because it's a forever compound. And like decades later, the general public learn that this shit, it ends up in your body and you can't get rid of it, right? They knew that from the jump. So it was about how, like, this town got ill and a judge then actually, after years of this company fucking around, right, trying to dead it all, like, the judge ruled in the town's favor. But then the company was like, fuck it, we ain't paying. Right? So if a company can do that, right? We've seen what governments do. Just like when you understand what people have done, you understand, you know what I mean? Grey Chris. Right? So it all of this really gives us this scenario to take us to the end perfectly, but also set up some of the things that are to come in, future seasons. Because in the other books, Grey Chris is still a part of it, right? And, they ain't happy, right? So it builds to all of this. So it's super good. It's super interesting. And, I dug it, even if it was 9, right? When it ended weird, I'm like, I still dig it. But this really caps it off perfectly. So everything I said just a second ago, people, right? I don't know, 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm still about that. But even more so with how episode 10 frames everything, sets you up emotionally for the ending and what is to come. So, if you enjoyed the first couple of episodes of Murderbot, if you've enjoyed the books, right? Because this isn't verbatim. This isn't, they've changed some stuff. And I did hear Martha Wells is You know, she worked with them. She was cool about changes and all of that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if you enjoyed the books, you will enjoy this, because it's not like they're making crazy changes, right? That Murderbot starts lipsing up Mensa, and right, we ain't getting no crazy changes, but the changes that have been made just help to strengthen an already good and strong story. So yes, people, Murderbot is now done. Well, it will be on the 11th, right? And it's well worth the watch. It's well worth the watch. So there you go. That's my take. These are my thoughts. Let me know. Have you been enjoying the series? Right? Did you read the books? How do you think it compared? Let me know, people. But hopefully you're enjoying some Murderbot.